Today, we're diving deep into a force that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, a principle that doesn't just shape habits, but defines destinies. This is a journey through self-discipline, what it truly means, why it matters more than ever in today's distracted world, and how it becomes the silent power behind every breakthrough. Over the next 2 hours, we will explore the mindset, the habits, the grit, and the transformation that come from living a life of self-discipline. Whether you're striving for physical fitness, mental clarity, emotional strength, or professional excellence, this speech is your guide, your fire, and your reminder that the life you dream of is built, one disciplined decision at a time. Self-discipline, the quiet force behind every success story you've ever admired. It's not flashy, it doesn't beg for attention, but it is always there in the background, shaping destinies. In a world of instant gratification, where everything screams for your attention and temptations wait at every corner, self-discipline is the difference between mediocrity and mastery. It is the gatekeeper of your potential, the silent promise that you can become more than your circumstances, stronger than your excuses, and bigger than your doubts. We are all born with dreams, desires, and talents. Self-discipline, the foundation of greatness. Self-discipline, the quiet force behind every success story you've ever admired. It's not flashy, it doesn't beg for attention, but it is always there, in the background, shaping destinies. In a world of instant gratification, where everything screams for your attention and temptations wait at every corner, self-discipline is the difference between mediocrity and mastery. It is the gatekeeper of your potential, the silent promise that you can become more than your circumstances, stronger than your excuses, and bigger than your doubts. We are all born with dreams, desires, and talents, but those alone are never enough. Talent without discipline is like a ship without a compass, drifting, uncertain, and eventually lost. It is discipline that sharpens talent, that gives direction to passion, and turns ambition into achievement. Without it, even the brightest fire will burn out in the wind. But with it, even the smallest spark can ignite a legacy. When you look at the lives of the greatest achievers, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, inventors, they all share one thing in common: the ability to do what must be done, especially when they don't feel like it. They rise when others sleep. They work when others quit. They train when no one is watching. Not because it's easy, not because it's fun, but because they made a decision. A decision to rise above their excuses, to master their emotions, and to follow through every single day. Self-discipline isn't about punishment. It's not about deprivation. It's about choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. It's about saying no to distractions so you can say yes to greatness. It's about delaying gratification, pushing through resistance, and building the kind of strength that can't be seen in the mirror, but is felt in every decision, every habit, and every victory. The truth is, motivation will fade. Inspiration comes and goes. But discipline is loyal. It shows up, even when you're tired. It answers the call, even when no one else does. Discipline is what carries you through the storms. When doubt creeps in, when the results don't come fast enough, when the world seems to forget your name. It is in those moments that self-discipline becomes your shield, your sword, your silent strength. And no, discipline is not born overnight. It's a muscle. It grows with use. It's built in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the quiet hours when you decide to keep going, even when every cell in your body screams for comfort. Every time you choose to honor your commitment over your mood, you feed that muscle. Every time you say no to what's easy and yes to what's right, you become unshakable. In today's world, everything is designed to pull you away from discipline. Notifications, endless scrolling, constant noise. But remember this, your attention is your power. Where you focus, you grow. So reclaim your focus. Take back your time. Learn to sit with discomfort. Learn to rise above laziness. Because the rewards of self-discipline are extraordinary. Confidence, clarity, control, freedom. Freedom, yes, because the most disciplined people are the most free. They're not controlled by cravings, by chaos, by outside forces. They've built inner strength that no one can take away. While the undisciplined are tossed around by life, the disciplined shape life on their own terms. They don't wait for the right mood, the perfect day, or the ideal conditions. They create momentum. They build consistency. They define their destiny. There's a war happening every day inside you. The voice that wants to take the easy way out, and the voice that calls you higher. Every time you choose discipline, you silence the voice of doubt. Every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. And slowly, that belief grows. Slowly, the identity of a disciplined warrior is born. It starts with the small things. Getting up when your alarm goes off. Showing up when no one expects you to. Choosing the gym over the couch. Choosing the book over the screen. Choosing presence over procrastination. These may seem like small decisions, but they are powerful declarations. They say, I am in control. I own my time. I respect my goals. And when you stack these decisions day after day, you build a life that reflects your highest self. Self-discipline is not about perfection. You will fall, you will slip. But every time you stand back up, you are practicing the art of resilience. Discipline is not about never getting it wrong. It's about not letting one bad day become your new normal. It's about course-correcting quickly, forgiving yourself fiercely, and recommitting daily. The most disciplined people aren't flawless. They're just relentless. And make no mistake, discipline is contagious. It spills into every area of your life. When you become disciplined in your health, you gain more energy for your work. When you become disciplined in your time, you create space for your relationships. When you become disciplined in your mind, you experience deeper peace, clear alignment, and alignment creates power. If you want to change your life, change your standards. Raise the bar. Stop negotiating with your weakness. Stop settling for less than your potential. The path of discipline is not glamorous. It's not loud, but it leads to a life that speaks for itself. The results will show. The strength will show. The glow will show. You won't need to convince anyone. They will feel it when you walk into the room. There's a deep fulfillment that comes from doing hard things, from knowing that you did the work, earned the win, and showed up fully. That's the reward of self-discipline. Not applause, not likes, not validation, but the quiet pride of knowing you honored your word. That you became the kind of person who follows through. That you earned your own respect. So start now, not tomorrow, not next week. The conditions will never be perfect. But you don't need perfect. You need discipline. Decide who you want to be, and then show up as that person every day. Let discipline lead the way. Let it shape your habits, guide your choices, and fuel your actions. You have the power to rewrite your story, to reclaim your time, to live with purpose. Because at the end of the day, success is not built on luck or talent alone. It is built on discipline, day by day, decision by decision, action by action. That is how legends are made. That is how history is written. That is how your future is forged. Stay strong, stay focused, stay disciplined. The life you want is on the other side of the work you're avoiding. Choose the hard path now, and you'll live a life of ease later. Choose the easy path now, and life will be hard forever. You decide, and with self-discipline, you always decide. This is your moment. Own it. Live it. Be relentless. Be consistent. Be disciplined. And never look back. When you're in the dark tunnel and you keep walking forward, not because you see the light yet, but because you believe it's there. That's faith. That's character. That's power. Look at every master in any field. They all faced failure. They all had seasons of obscurity. What made them legends wasn't just their talent, it was their commitment to the process. Kobe Bryant shot in the gym for hours before the world saw his highlights. Maya Angelou wrote in hotel rooms with no distractions before her words ever reached a stage. Elon Musk slept on factory floors while building Tesla. They weren't waiting for inspiration. They were driven by discipline. That's how empires are built. Let's bring it closer to home. Maybe you're not chasing a championship or inventing the future. Maybe you're just trying to stay consistent with your goals, to stay sober, stay fit, stay focused. Maybe you're trying to show up for your kids, your dreams, your future self. That counts. That matters. Self-discipline doesn't discriminate by scale. The person who shows up at 5 a.m. to go for a walk is just as powerful as the CEO in a boardroom, because both are fighting for control over their lives. And here's the truth. The discipline you practice today becomes the life you live tomorrow. Every decision compounds. Skipping the hard thing now doesn't just delay progress, it creates a habit of retreat. But doing the hard thing over and over creates a habit of power. That's why discipline is the foundation of freedom. It might sound like a paradox, but the more disciplined you become, the more free you are. Free from guilt, free from chaos, free from regret. That's real freedom. You know what makes self-discipline even more powerful? When it's rooted in identity. When you stop asking, "Should I work out today?" and start saying, "I am someone who takes care of my body." When you stop debating, "Should I work on my goals?" and start declaring, "I am a finisher. I am consistent. I am disciplined." You see, behavior flows from belief. So build an identity that supports the life you want. Don't just do disciplined things. Be a disciplined person. And yes, There will be setbacks. You'll fall. You'll mess up. You'll lose momentum. But that's part of the journey. Self-discipline isn't perfection. It's persistence. You fall 7 times. You get up 8. You don't punish yourself. You recommit. That's the game. Champions aren't perfect. They're persistent. Discipline gives you the ability to start again, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Now, let's talk about your environment. If you want to stay disciplined, you must build a world around you that supports it. Your environment either fuels your focus or feeds your distraction. Clean your space. Set clear goals. Cut the noise. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to level up, not people who validate your excuses. Discipline doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in clarity. Bool. And let's go deeper, because discipline isn't just about action. It's about alignment. It's about being true to your purpose. When your actions align with your deepest values, you feel whole. You feel strong. You feel unstoppable. That's what discipline really is. Living in harmony with the best version of yourself. Not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard. So what do you do when the fire fades? When you lose the why? You return to your reasons. You remember who you're doing this for. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's your future. Maybe it's to break a generational curse. Whatever it is, let that reason burn in your chest. Let it pull you forward. Discipline isn't just built on systems. It's built on heart. And as we stretch into the final moments of this journey, remember this. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to build your life for you. That responsibility belongs to you and you alone. But that's not a burden. It's a gift. Because it means your life is in your hands. Your future is yours to write, and discipline is the pen. So when the alarm goes off tomorrow, rise. When your mind resists, push forward. When your body is tired, move anyway. When your soul is weary, remember your vision. Because each disciplined act is a strike against weakness, a brick in the wall of your future, a vote for the person you're becoming. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be committed. You don't need more motivation. You need more movement. And you don't need permission. You already have the power. Discipline is your superpower. Use it. Because in the end, the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. And the one who executes, the one who shows up relentlessly, consistently, unapologetically, that person doesn't just succeed. That person becomes unstoppable. Now, let's talk about a domain that many people overlook when it comes to discipline: your relationships. Because let's face it, how you show up for others is often a mirror of how disciplined you are with yourself. It takes discipline to listen without interrupting. It takes discipline to choose patience over anger, presence over distraction, honesty over convenience. When you cultivate self-discipline, you become more reliable, more trustworthy, more intentional in how you love, lead, and serve. Great relationships don't happen by accident. They're built by people who show up with consistency, maturity, and self-control. And this brings us to emotional discipline, something rarely talked about, but absolutely essential. We're often taught to chase success, to go after goals, to grind. But who teaches us to regulate our emotions? Who reminds us that not every thought needs to be voiced, that not every feeling deserves a reaction?
Emotional discipline is the ability to feel fully and still act wisely. It's the skill of responding, not reacting, of staying grounded when life tries to shake you. Because let me tell you, storms are coming. People will offend you. Life will test your limits. And in those moments, your emotional discipline will determine whether you stay in control or spiral. Let's get even more real. Spiritual discipline. Whatever your belief system is, there's something powerful about aligning yourself with a higher purpose. Whether it's prayer, meditation, stillness, or gratitude, spiritual discipline creates a foundation that nothing external can shake. It centers you. It keeps your ego in check. It reminds you that you are not just a machine, grinding for results. You're a human being with a soul. And when you make space for quiet, for reflection, for connection with something greater than yourself, you gain a strength that doesn't come from hustle, comes from alignment. Now I want to ask you a hard question. What story are you telling yourself about discipline? Do you believe it's restrictive, that it kills creativity, that it's exhausting? Or do you understand that discipline is the very thing that sets you free? It frees you from chaos. It frees you from regret. It frees you from a life of randomness and makes you a deliberate creator of your future. Change your story and your actions will follow. Start telling yourself, discipline is how I rise. Discipline is how I love. Discipline is how I win. And let's talk about mental toughness, a core component of self-discipline. Discipline isn't just about action. It's about endurance. It's about pushing through when your mind screams for relief. When the goal feels a million miles away, when you feel invisible, unappreciated, exhausted, that's where champions are forged, not in the spotlight, but in the trenches. You must develop the voice in your head that says, keep going. You must teach yourself to lean into pain with purpose, to find meaning in the suffering, to see struggle as the training ground for greatness. Here's something practical. Set hard goals. Goals that stretch you, scare you, challenge every part of who you are. Why? Because easy goals don't require self-discipline. They don't transform you. But the goals that make your stomach turn, that feel just out of reach, those force you to evolve. And that's the point of discipline. Not just to reach goals, but to become someone new in the process. Set goals so big, they demand a better version of you to achieve them. Then show up every day with relentless discipline until you grow into that person. Also, celebrate your progress. Yes, discipline is serious. Yes, it's about sacrifice. But it's also about joy, about becoming someone you're proud of. So celebrate the wins. Whether it's making your bed for 30 days straight, going to the gym even when you didn't feel like it, turning off your phone to focus on your goals. That matters. Those are victories. Don't wait for the big milestones to validate your journey. Every act of discipline is a win, and you deserve to acknowledge that. Now listen, you're not too late. I don't care if you're 18 or 80, rich or broke, successful or struggling. You can begin again. You can draw a line in the sand today and say, this is the version of me that takes ownership of my life. Your past may be messy, your habits may be broken, your confidence may be low, but none of that disqualifies you from a disciplined future. Discipline is a decision. It's not about what you've been. It's about what you choose now. And if you're thinking, but I've failed too many times, Good. But that means you're trying. That means you care. Failure is feedback. It's not the enemy. It's the training ground. Discipline is the willingness to try again, wiser and more determined than before. You are not your past. You are your patterns. And the beautiful thing is, patterns can be rewritten. Discipline rewrites them, one action at a time. Let's bring this home now. One day, you're going to look back on this moment, on the decision to become disciplined, and realize this was the turning point. This was when you chose growth over comfort, vision over excuses, purpose over pleasure. This is when your life began to shift, and you'll be proud, not because it was easy, but because you earned it. So wake up with purpose. Go to bed with peace. Say no to what distracts you. Say yes to what builds you. Be the one who rises when others rest. Be the one who finishes what they start. Be the one who becomes unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable.
Because you were never meant to live average. You were built for greatness, and self-discipline is how you claim it. Self-discipline isn't just about action. It's not just about doing hard things. At its core, self-discipline is identity. It's who you believe you are. You don't become disciplined by forcing behavior. You become disciplined by believing, I am the kind of person who shows up no matter what. When that belief takes root, the actions follow. And if you've struggled with consistency, with procrastination, with quitting, don't just fix your behavior. And fix your identity. Rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. Start saying, I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. I'm the kind of person who doesn't break promises to myself. I'm the kind of person who is dependable, focused, and unshakable. Because every time you act with discipline, you're voting for that identity. You're proving to yourself, I am becoming that version of me. And the truth is, that identity is already inside you. You're not broken. You're buried. And discipline is the shovel that uncovers who you were meant to be. Now, let's talk about something crucial: environment. You may have the best intentions in the world, but if you are living in an environment full of distractions, negativity, temptations, and noise, your willpower will eventually crumble. Environment beats willpower. Every time. Every time. So if you're serious about self-discipline, you must engineer your surroundings to make success inevitable. That means removing distractions, deleting apps that steal your time, setting boundaries with people who drain your energy, creating a space that invites focus, not chaos. You must treat your environment like a garden. Weeds don't need permission to grow. But if you're intentional, if you plant structure, silence, accountability, and clarity into your world, discipline blooms. Make it easier to do what matters. Make it harder to drift. And surround yourself with people who reflect the future you want, not the past you're trying to escape. And let's go even deeper. Your values. Discipline is easier when it's not just about goals. It's about what you value at your core. What do you truly care about? Not what looks good on social media. Not what other people say you should want. What burns inside of you? What mission moves your soul? When you connect your daily actions to a deep, personal value, discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like alignment. You no longer have to do it. You get to do it. It becomes an expression of who you are. Let me give you a powerful truth. Discipline is love. It's love for your future self, love for your dreams, love for your family, love for the people you will impact by living at your highest potential.
You don't skip the workout because you hate your body. You do it because you love your health. You don't resist the impulse to quit because you're trying to suffer. You do it because you love your legacy. Discipline is not self-punishment. It's self-respect. And the more you honor yourself, the easier it becomes to honor the hard path. You also need to understand something powerful. Delayed gratification is the superpower of the disciplined. In a world obsessed with fast likes, fast food, fast results, the disciplined person chooses slow, steady, and strong. You don't chase dopamine. You build fulfillment. You don't need quick validation. You're building unshakable confidence from the inside out. And that's rare. That's warrior-level mindset. Because anyone can do what feels good in the moment. But it takes a champion to do what feels right for their future. And here's the truth. The more you practice delaying gratification, the more you realize the short-term pleasure was never worth the long-term cost. Every time you say no to distraction, you say yes to destiny. And every act of self-denial is actually an act of self-liberation. You are freeing yourself from addiction to comfort. You are freeing yourself from the chains of mediocrity. Let's talk about pain, because self-discipline is not a life without pain. It's about choosing purposeful pain over random suffering. It's about choosing the pain of hard work instead of the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of a life unlived, that lasts forever. Choose your pain wisely. And when it gets hard, and it will get hard, remember this: you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. So don't just dream big, build structure, build rituals, build non-negotiables into your life that you do regardless of how you feel. Feelings are fleeting, habits are anchoring. Create a system that works even on your worst days, because those days are the ones that define your character. Here's a simple question you can use every morning. Star, star, what would the most disciplined version of me do today? Star, star, that. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable, even if no one claps, especially when no one claps. Because that's when discipline becomes devotion. And lastly, let's talk about legacy. When your time is up, and one day it will be, how do you want to be remembered? As someone who gave in to distraction, who lived by emotion, who settled for comfort? Or as someone who showed the world what commitment looks like? As someone whose actions matched their potential? As someone who lived a life of intention, of fire, of discipline? You have one life, and you don't owe it to your past to stay the same. You owe it to your future to rise, to lead, to grow, to embody what's possible when discipline meets purpose. Because the world doesn't need more talent. It doesn't need more talkers. It needs more finishers, more doers, more people who show up every day, rain or shine, with heart and hunger. Be that person.